Let me tell y'all what really holds marriages together. Women just putting up with shit. That's all it is.
What's good, everyone, and how are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing great, and if you are joining for the very first time, thank you so much for tuning in. Today's video is pretty interesting because I really want to hear your thoughts about this. There's a few seconds video that has been going viral on TikTok that people are talking about, and the very first stitch that I am going to attach to this video went viral. When I mean viral, very viral. There are people agreeing to her and there are people disagreeing to what she said as well. I'm going to roll the clip of the few seconds video that started this conversation.
Based off my personal experience, you either gonna have standards or you gonna have a man, but you ain't gonna have both.
That was what this lady said. She said you're either going to have a standard or you're going to have a man. You can't have both. That was just what she said in that video that started this conversation. I would like you guys to stick back because even if you're not going to watch the entire video, please watch the very first stitch because I would like to hear your thoughts. And if you have more time, watch the second stitch because the very first stitch was a lady narrating what she had confirmed from older people and another man disagreeing to what she said. The very first stitch went viral. I need you guys to see it so we can talk about this. So without wasting much time, let me just roll the clip of what the people are saying about what this lady said in this video.
You either gonna have standards or you gonna have a man, but you ain't gonna have both.
When I was younger and I used to see people in my family or just people in general have these 20, 30, 40-year marriages, right? When I was younger, I used to be like, wow, I want something like that. Like, I want to be so in love with somebody that I'm with them for 20, 30, 40, 50 years and we die together. I used to think that what held marriages together for that long was true love. And of course, communication, understanding, sacrifice, all those things. Let me tell y'all what really holds marriages together. Women just putting up with shit. That's all it is. When you understand that all it takes to keep a man is for you to constantly be forgiving bullshit and constantly be like, oh, okay, I don't want to lose him, so I'm gonna forgive this, I'm gonna forgive that. That's all a long marriage is just the woman constantly putting up with shit. That's all it is. You not leaving him because he did this, and that's all a long-term marriage is. And that's why when these dumb men be in my comments talking about, you're going to be single forever, you're going to die alone, you're going to die with your cats, I'll be like, good for me, good for me. If the alternative is having to put up with you, good for me. Like, keeping a man is not an achievement. Keeping a man low-key be sometimes a failure for a lot of y'all. I'm just saying it.
But you ain't gonna have both.
Let's cut the bullshit. What you call standards is ultimatums. And you're misleading a lot of young people with this idea that you should just wake up with your ultimatums and call them standards. And if people can't follow your standards, then there's something wrong with them. Listen, if you come to the table with hard and fast rules you call standards, which really are ultimatums, the only way that someone is going to follow those ultimatums is if you're providing something that person cannot live without. And if you're doing that, you don't really have someone who loves you, you have a captive. And the minute your captive finds a way to live without what you provide, that captive will be gone. So please stop, spreading this weird idea that a person can just wake up and say, I have standards, and if you're going to be with me, you must follow my standards. That's an ultimatum. Those aren't standards. The only way you're going to have a successful relationship with your friends, with people, in love, marriage, dating, whatever, is you give and you take. You may have your standards about how you feel about a certain thing, right? And if you meet someone who loves you or who brings something else desirable to the table, a reasonable person says, okay, this is how I feel about seafood, but I like this person, so I can compromise a bit on that. You know what I mean? Human interaction involves compromise. So don't deceive yourself and deceive these young, impressionable people that you have to have this rules and regulations and people must come and bow at your altar to be. No, you're human, you're flawed, no one's perfect. Chill the fuck out.
or you gonna have a man. But you ain't gonna have both.
Having standards is really interesting. The reason being is because a lot of people assume that they have standards and their relationship shows otherwise. Their relationship shows that they're willing to tolerate and accept anything and everything just because of something. They're willing to accept arguments and abuse and being mistreated and being talked down to because they're justifying it by saying, well, it's not always like this, or they weren't always like this, or it'll get better. But once you genuinely have healthy standards, you begin to realize that you don't have to accept nor tolerate any of that negative behavior when it comes to a relationship. You're not willing to accept less than what you deserve. You're not willing to be treated less than how you're supposed to be. The reason being is because you know your worth. And there's people out there who have great intentions in order to create a healthy standard for themselves. But unfortunately, they get to the point where they feel like they're running out of time and they have to get into a relationship. So therefore, they lower their standards. And when they lower those standards, they're essentially saying that I'm willing to accept less than what I deserve just because I don't want to be alone and just because I want to be in a relationship. And what happens when we lower our standards? We're willing to accept less than what we deserve. So you cannot get mad when you meet somebody who doesn't fulfill your wants and your needs the way you would want them to, because you, upon being with them, accepted the fact that you were willing to accept less than what you deserved when you lowered your standards. But when you genuinely have healthy standards, you will realize and recognize that not everyone is capable of being in a relationship with you. The reason being is because they feel like it's too much work to fulfill your wants and your needs. It's too much work to love you. It's too much work in order to be in a relationship with you. Because they're not used to being in relationships with people who have high standards and who is not willing to tolerate half-assed work when it comes to maintaining a relationship. So yes, it's going to be hard to find people who genuinely want to love you and understand that you have healthy standards and healthy boundaries and they're going to treat you as such. But the caveat off that is, when you do actually meet this person, you won't have to ask for the things that you want and you need because they'll just do it. You don't have to ask to be loved and cared for because they'll just do it. You don't have to beg to be treated with love and decency because they'll just do it. Is it going to take time? Probably. I'll be realistic. Yes, it might take time. But the alternative, because you are so impatient and just want to be in a relationship so bad, is you lowering your standards and you being willing to accept less than what you deserve. And what happens when we accept less than what we deserve?
That all it takes to keep a man is for you to constantly be forgiving bullshit.
To my people, I implore you, please stop listening to these armchair experts over the internet. Human beings are far too complex to generalize. It's never one size fits all. We're very nuanced beings. She says she used to see these couples together for 30 and 40 years, thinking to herself that she wanted that, and all it took was love to make that relationship work. Well, that's a very basic and simplistic way of thinking. I always say, what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. In a 30 or 40 year span, you don't think that both individuals within that relationship aren't sacrificing? I'll give you an example. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of Will and Jada's relationship. At this point, we're all speculating. But listen to this clip from the Red Table Talk that her and Will had closely.
Me wanting to help his health, his mental state.
Because for me, that was the thing when Og first came around, he was really sick.
He was really sick, yeah.
And the outpouring for him from our family was initially about his health.
Yeah. And I mean, we found, and from there,
Yeah.
And we decided.
I was done with your ass.
Yeah, you kicked me to the curb.
I was done with you.
Yeah.
Marriages have that, though.
Yeah,
Marriages have that.
Yeah,
we decided that we were going to go figure out how to make yourself happy, and I'll figure out how to make myself happy.
Well,
she said out of her own mouth that they were concerned about his health, and he was really, really sick. Now, had this been any other situation, we'd say, it sounds like one person took advantage of another person. But again, I'm only going by what I heard. I'm gonna be honest. Since this quote-unquote entanglement hit the internet, I haven't heard much from August Alsina aside from him allegedly being assaulted by Tory Lanez. Where's his music? So I'll end it with this. Negative thoughts breed negative results. Simple as that.
If I had different people in my ear at that time, I would not have made that decision. No.
Wow.
I wouldn't.
What do you guys think about what they all said? When I came across the initial video went viral, but it didn't go viral as much as the very first stitch that I attached to this video. The lady who said, when she talked about people who have been in marriages for a very long time, and when she asked them about what holds the marriage together, that particular lady's video went viral. That video has close to 450,000 likes, about over 20,000 comments, over 61,000 saves on TikTok. So that one has a lot of interaction, and I was able to get few comments. One of the things that I noticed when I was going through the comment section and even some stitches of people reposting is that there are a higher percentage of women agreeing to what she said, and there are some people as well saying it actually doesn't work that way. I was able to get few comments, and I'm just going to read some out to you guys so that let's just talk about what you guys think about it. This person says, when a woman says we've been through a lot together, it's years of forgiving his infidelity she's talking about and the stress she has been through. Another one said, I disagree, not whole. My parents have been married for 36 years, still super in love. My dad treats my mom like a princess. My mom adores my dad. Another person said, I was married 15 years and believe me, this is true. Divorce was the best thing I ever chose for myself. I tell my daughters, get your money, not man. This person said, I feel like that is every kind of relationship. You're gonna deal with something no matter who you're dealing with. Maybe your mama, your best friend, your boyfriend. It is always something. And this is what I strongly believe in. But we have to know when to draw the line and when to say, you know what, I can no longer take this. Another one said, every woman in my family that has been married 20 plus years tells me to take my time, which I receive as don't do it. Does it have to get this bad? Another person said, I lasted 5 years and felt like a failure for not making it work, but now I am so glad that I left. This person said, then one day you can't forgive or forget and resentment turns into it. And this is why I said, when do you know when to stop and just move? And it's still based on you having those standards. The stitches I shared, the very first man disagreed to what she said, and she said that this standard that we talk about, it's ultimatum. So let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Let's continue this conversation there, and I am going to see you guys in the next one. Bye, and I love you guys.